9 animated heroes crossed a line they could not walk back. Each one started as a protector fans trusted completely. Then trauma, grief, or an obsession with justice pushed them past the point of no return. One decision alone is estimated to have killed 1.6 billion people. Here is the countdown and what it actually cost them. 9. Jet, Avatar, The Last Airbender. Number 9 is Jet from Avatar, The Last Airbender. Jet lost his parents when he was 8 years old, killed in a Fire Nation raid on his village. He grew into the leader of the Freedom Fighters, a small band of orphaned kids who spent their days raiding Fire Nation soldiers wherever they found them. For most of his first appearance, Jet looks like exactly what a hero is supposed to look like. He shares stolen food with refugees, protects younger kids in his group, and charms Aang and Katara into trusting him within minutes of meeting them. Then he crosses a line most viewers do not expect from a show aimed at kids. Jet tricks Aang and Katara into helping him fill a reservoir with water, claiming it is needed to stop a forest fire. In reality, he plans to blow a dam and flood an entire valley town, drowning Fire Nation soldiers and Earth Kingdom civilians together just to wipe out one enemy outpost. Only Sokka's suspicion and a last-minute warning to the villagers stops mass civilian deaths from happening on screen. What makes Jet easy to overlook on a list like this is timing. His fall happens in the 10th episode of the entire series, long before the show gets serious about war and generational trauma. But the writers never let him off easy for it. His own closest friends distance themselves from him. He is later arrested and brainwashed by the secret police of Ba Sing Se, and he dies trying to break free of that control to help the same people he once endangered. Jet matters because he proves you do not need world-ending stakes to show a hero losing himself. Sometimes it just takes one village and one bad decision made for what felt like a good reason. That kind of small, personal fall is easy to miss between bigger stories. 8. Stain, My Hero Academia. Chizome Akaguro grew up admiring All Might, the #1 hero, the same way almost every kid in his world did. He enrolled in a private hero course expecting to find real justice being taught. Instead, he found students chasing hero work for fame, sponsorship money, and public image. Disgusted, he dropped out and spent years trying to warn people about what he had seen, first as a peaceful activist and later as a vigilante called Stenthal, who targeted only villains. Nobody listened to the warnings, so he picked up a blade and changed his method completely. As the hero killer, Stain went on to murder 17 professional heroes and permanently disable 24 more, according to the in-universe reporting shown in the series. He only ever targeted people he judged to be fakes, and he refused to kill children even when they attacked him directly. That code is what makes Stain easy to mistake for something other than a straightforward villain. He genuinely believes every killing is restoring honesty to a broken hero system, and the show even notes that crime rates measurably dropped in the cities where he operated. Proof that his twisted logic was not producing pure chaos. His price came fast. He was defeated by 3 students still in training, arrested, and locked in the country's highest security prison. But the damage did not end with his capture. His ideology directly inspired the series' main villain organization to rise to power. Stain wanted to purge fake heroes one at a time. 7. Itachi Uchiha, Naruto. Itachi was the most gifted ninja his clan had produced in a generation, trusted with village secrets most adults never saw. When his own clan began secretly planning a coup that risked triggering a full civil war, a village elder gave Itachi an impossible choice. Let the coup happen and watch his entire family get wiped out by the village anyway, or kill them himself and be allowed to spare his younger brother Sasuke. Itachi chose to do it himself. In a single night, he killed his own parents and every other member of his clan, then let Sasuke grow up believing his brother was a cold-blooded murderer who deserved to be hunted down for revenge. That is the part most casual viewers miss. Itachi did not just carry out the massacre. He spent the rest of his life pretending to be a wanted criminal so that Sasuke would have a reason to grow strong, never once defending himself or explaining what really happened. He even joined a dangerous criminal organization just to secretly protect his home village from the inside, feeding it information while everyone there believed he was their enemy. The facts of the massacre were never in dispute. What stayed hidden for years, both from Sasuke and from the audience, was why. Itachi's price was a life with no real home, a slow illness he refused to treat because he believed he deserved to die by his brother's hand, and a death that came exactly the way he had planned it. Itachi carried his secret with total restraint until the very end. 6. Obito Uchiha, Naruto Shippuden. Obito started out as one of the kindest, clumsiest characters in the entire Naruto story, a hopeful young ninja who believed in protecting his friends above every rule in the book. Then, on a mission, he was crushed under rubble and left for dead. He survived barely and was rescued by Madara Uchiha, one of the most dangerous men in the entire series. While Obito was recovering in secret, he learned that the teammate he loved, Rin, had been killed by his own best friend Kakashi, under circumstances far more tragic and complicated than they first appeared. That loss broke something in him permanently. He took on a masked identity, hid behind the name Toby, and spent years quietly manipulating wars and tragedies that other characters were blamed for. His final goal was a technique called the Infinite Tsukuyomi, a plan to trap every single person on Earth inside a permanent illusion so nobody would ever have to feel real loss again. What makes Obito easy to underestimate is exactly how long he manages to stay hidden. For years, he plays the role of a minor, almost comic background character while secretly pulling the strings behind some of the story's biggest tragedies. His price was steep and, in the end, deeply ironic. He is manipulated by the very people he trusted most, loses the war he spent decades planning, and only finds real peace in the final moments of his life, after nearly everything he built has already collapsed around him. 5. Nagato, known as Pain, Naruto Shippuden. Nagato grew up in a village caught in the crossfire of a war he never asked to be part of. He watched his parents die as a young child, and years later watched his best friend Yahiko die directly in front of him during a hostage standoff that went wrong. After that loss, Nagato adopted Yahiko's identity and built an entire philosophy out of his own grief. He called it peace through pain, the belief that humanity would never choose peace on its own, so it had to be forced to feel the full weight of war first all at once. As the leader of the criminal organization Akatsuki, Nagato used a set of 6 reanimated corpses controlled remotely through his eyes to level the entire Hidden Leaf village and kill Jiraiya, the man who had personally trained him as a child. What tends to get missed about Nagato is that his logic is not presented as insane. It is coherent, it comes directly from real loss, and by the time he explains it face-to-face with Naruto, plenty of viewers find themselves agreeing with pieces of his argument even while rejecting where it led him. That is what makes him worth studying rather than dismissing. After losing to Naruto, he uses the last of his own life force to revive every single person he killed during his attack, undoing his own damage in the only way he had left available to him. 4. Justice Lord Superman, Justice League, A Better World. This one comes from a 2-part Justice League episode called A Better World, which first aired on November 2003, and is still considered one of the most important episodes the entire show ever produced. In an alternate universe, the Flash is killed during a battle against Lex Luthor, who has become President of the United States. Grief and rage push Superman past his limit. He and 2 other League members storm the White House, and Superman personally kills Luthor inside the Oval Office. From there, the team renames itself the Justice Lords and takes direct control of the world's governments, believing total order is the only way to prevent tragedies like this from ever happening again. They enforce peace by lobotomizing criminals and supervillains with Superman's heat vision, and by arresting citizens for minor protests against their rule. What makes this version of Superman easy to overlook is that he does not exist in the main show's timeline at all. He is built specifically as a mirror, a warning of what the hero audiences already trust could become under different pressure. His price is defeat at the hands of the real Justice League, when the heroes of the main universe refuse to follow the same path, even when pushed to their own breaking point. The episode's writers have said the story was written in the lead-up to a real-world war, and the parallels to authoritarian control were intentional from the start. The Justice Lords showed what could happen in an alternate universe. Number 3 takes almost the exact same idea and applies it directly to the Superman fans already know, with a much higher body count. 3. Superman, Injustice. This is the Superman from Injustice, a 2021 animated film based on the popular video game and comic series of the same name. In this version, the Joker tricks Superman into killing his own pregnant wife, Lois Lane, and detonates a nuclear weapon that wipes out the entire city of Metropolis. Superman's grief turns into rage almost immediately. He kills the Joker on the spot, something the character rarely if ever does in any other version of the story. From there, he takes control of the planet, using surveillance drones and allied heroes to enforce a global police state he calls the regime. He justifies every new act of violence, including killing a group of teenagers who idolize the Joker, by telling himself it protects far more people in the long run. What separates this fall from the Justice Lord story is how public and undeniable it is. There is no hiding behind an alternate universe here. This is presented directly as the character audiences already know, pushed all the way to his breaking point on screen. His price comes when a version of Lois Lane from a different universe, one who lost her own Superman years earlier, steps into the fight and convinces him to see exactly what he has become. He surrenders and accepts imprisonment rather than keep fighting for a world he has already lost the right to control. Superman's fall in injustice came from a lie specifically engineered to break him. Number 2 is different because nobody tricked this next character into anything. Every step of it was his own choice. 2. Light Yagami, Death Note. Light Yagami is a top student in Japan, the kind of kid teachers and parents hold up as an example, until he finds a supernatural notebook that can kill anyone whose name is written inside it while picturing their face. Instead of turning the notebook in or ignoring it, Light decides to use it to build what he calls a perfect world, killing criminals by the hundreds under the alias Kira. Within days, news broadcasts are dedicated entirely to him. Within weeks, parts of the public begin worshipping him as a god who finally brought real justice to a broken system. Light never sees himself as a murderer. He genuinely believes he is the only person willing to do what needed to be done, and he manages an ordinary double life the entire time, going to school, dating, and arguing with his own father, a police detective, without ever letting slip what he does at night. The manga behind this character has sold more than 30 million copies worldwide since it finished serialization in 2006, and the ongoing battle between Light and the detective trying to catch him, known only as L, is still considered one of the tightest psychological rivalries in anime history. Light's price is total. He is eventually outsmarted by L's successors, shot by police in the middle of a monologue, and dies of a heart attack once his own weapon is finally turned against him by the one ally he trusted too much. Light Yagami killed people he judged one name at a time. Number 1 did not judge anyone individually at all. He decided an entire world needed to disappear, and came closer to actually doing it than anyone else on this list. 1. Eren Yeager, Attack on Titan. Eren Yeager begins Attack on Titan as a kid who watched his own mother get eaten in front of him, and swore he would wipe every man-eating titan off the face of the earth to protect the people he loves. For most of the story, that makes him the clearest, most straightforward hero in the entire cast. Then the story widens, revealing a world outside his island that has feared and hated his people for generations, and Eren decides the only way to guarantee lasting safety for his home is to make sure that outside world can never fight back at all. He gains control of a power called the Founding Titan and launches an event known as the Rumbling, sending an army of massive titans to trample every nation beyond his home island of Paradis. In the manga's final chapters, published in April of 2021, Eren tells his closest friend directly that the Rumbling will kill 80% of humanity. Based on the population implied by the story's own setting, fans and outlets covering the finale have estimated that figure at somewhere around 1.6 billion lives, by far the largest single act of destruction tied to any hero turned villain on this list. What makes Eren different from everyone before him is the gap between his original goal and his final one. He never wanted power or worship. He just wanted his friends to be safe, and that single wish is what eventually justified, in his own mind, the deaths of billions of strangers. His price is the harshest one on this entire list. He is killed by Mikasa, one of the 2 people who loved him most, in the very act that finally brings the Rumbling to an end. 9 different heroes, 9 different reasons, and one pattern that repeats every single time. Grief, trauma, or an unshakable belief in their own version of justice pushed each one of them past a point they could not walk back from. Some paid with their freedom, some paid with their life. A couple of them, Nagato and Eren, paid by watching the very people they were trying to protect turn against them in the end. If this list proves anything, it is that the line between hero and villain in animation is rarely one single moment. It is almost always a slow build of choices that made complete sense to the character at the time, right up until they did not. Which fall hit you the hardest? Drop your pick below, and tell us which hero you think almost crossed the line but pulled back just in time.